works.
What's up, family? Welcome to Ask the Minds.
Where we challenge you to stop playing and start pushing.
This right here is my captivating wifey, y'all.
And this right here is my sparkling husband, Yeezy. He's sparkling. You know why you sparkling, boo?
Why, baby?
Because you sparkle in my soul, brother.
Mmm.
It wasn't that. It was corny. You really try to make it work, though.
Nah, it's like you said. I got this shimmer. I got this glimmer. I light up your heart.
Yes. Let's get into this question. Yeah, I'm glad you felt it. I am.
Come on now.
Okay. Sorry, people. How y'all doing? All right, let's get to the question here at hand. Okay, here it is. Dear my aunts, I'm in a situation I told myself I'd never get into. Isn't that how it usually works? I'm 6.5 months pregnant with my daughter, and her father is very similar to my dad, controlling. Our story starts in August of last year after I passed the training at our job, so they work at the same place. When he saw that I was on his team, he did his best to charm me by singing to me, walking me to my car, and wanting to spend breaks and lunch with me. I gave him a chance, even though alarms were sounding off. After 2 weeks of being inseparable, he introduced me to his spiritual parents, which he said no woman's ever met them before, so I felt special. They told me that they've been praying for me to be placed in his life since he hasn't had the best of luck with women, and even though he had some work to do on himself, I shouldn't give up on him. If somebody say that to you straight off the break when you first meet him, he done had some problems, but just don't give up on him. Nah, boo, it's time to walk away right off the cuff. Okay.
Nah, not necessarily. Go ahead.
Don't, if your parents would say that to me the first time I met them, I was like, what you got going on with you? Anyway, I asked him to give his thoughts on where we were in terms of a relationship, but he kind of brushed it off. I thought that was strange because he said before that he wanted to marry me and often called me his wife. We had all types of little red flags and stuff going on. One night in October, we were under the influence at my house when we had unprotected sex. Just before he was about to orgasm, he asked if he could put on a condom. I quickly said yes. So right after he did so, he snatched it off, went back in, and came. Lord, what in the world is going on?
Wow.
At first, I was upset, but he tried to make it okay by saying I could take the morning after pill and reminding me of past discussions about being a family if I were to get pregnant. I was a little relieved, but I had sneaky suspicion that none of this was true. The charm stopped and he seemed distant. After nights of not speaking to each other on the way home after work, I finally asked if everything was okay and why wasn't he romancing me anymore. He said he had to be in the mood. He said, he said he had to be in the mood. I mean, I was doing everything he wanted, gave him the attention I thought he needed, but he wasn't returning it anymore. I noticed he play fought harder and would say randomly, I'll drop you on your back. Okay. He criticized my choice of music, a wig I had on one time, saying that I represented him now and shouldn't look how I was looking. What I wore at times referred to me as his territory and would get mad if I didn't get up and make him a sandwich in my house. One time I didn't speak to him when I got to work because I was running late and needed to log on. He ignored me the whole shift, then texted me when I got home saying that I had a problem and he's the king and needs to be acknowledged as such.
I wonder what's his title at work and what's her title. You know what their roles are.
Oh, before I made the decision to leave him, I made one last attempt to see if we could work things out. I asked about his feelings, but instead, he asked me if I was in love with him. Because if I wasn't, I wouldn't be tripping like this. That doesn't entirely make sense. When I told him that I was, he laughed and said, the only reason you're in love with me is because you're carrying my baby. My other baby mamas felt the same way when they got pregnant. He'd always compare me to them, and I was tired of it. A few hours before our afternoon shift, I told him to catch the bus and have someone take him home. Catch the bus. That was my way of breaking it off. A week later, we argued about me leaving him, and when I reminded him of why I did it, he turned it around and played the victim. He wanted to get back together. I didn't really want to, but I kind of thought it might get better. Yeah, it got worse. It's a long joint, y'all. We almost done. He stopped reaching out to me a week and a half after I left the job, but had the nerve to call about his Christmas present. Didn't ask about the baby's whereabouts, nor mine, but he cared enough to ask about his stinking Christmas present. Until March, he hadn't responded to my calls or texts, so I became bitter and was working to get him out of my heart. He finally says that he's in love with me. He's been in love with me, but didn't know how to say. He wants us to work things out. I can't even read no more of this. He's been begging her, like to be with him again. I'm kind of summarizing it now, y'all. I deserve better. It's just hard for me to move past this. It's almost as if I'm afraid of him, afraid of what he'll say or do. I know I shouldn't care, but after seeing all of those women getting killed by their boyfriends and babies' fathers, I can't help but to think that he is kind of crazy and mean, especially when he isn't high from weed. Is there anything, any piece of advice you can give me to break free of him? I feel like one of those women on Maury who are controlled by their men, even though we are not together.
Mm.
Well, well, well.
Wow. That was definitely
I'm telling you.
Yeah, thank you for writing that to us. I think that the thing that stands out to me in this particular letter is that when you say you're looking for help in terms of how to get away from him, to me, I think that you more so really need help when it comes to you stepping into you. From this letter, I think that there's a certain pattern that's probably played out in your life where you've attracted a certain type of man, and you've done so based off of your experiences from the past. And so I think that it wouldn't surprise me if you witnessed abuse or if you were in an abusive relationship prior to this one. But I think that you probably, unfortunately, get some sense of validation or esteem from being in a relationship with somebody who may be controlling. I think that you get some sense of self-worth.
What
maybe
you think
because
she gets some esteem?
I think
some
that she feels value. Yes, I think she feels value from being in a relationship with somebody who may be controlling, because to some degree it's indicative of the fact that the person wants to be with you. And so even after everything transpired, you were still trying to connect with him, and you say he didn't respond or reach back out to you until March. So if you know he has a pattern or he has issues in terms of being controlling, and in a situation with him pulling out and then putting on a condom and then taking it off and then going back in.
Let's pause on that.
Yeah, that's I'm marking my territory type.
Like a straight dog.
Yeah, that's you're gonna be mine. I want it the way I want it, when I want it, and how I want it, and you ain't got nothing you can say to me about that.
Oh man,
that's extreme control right
there. I would have fought him. Yeah. Straight fought him, you know what I'm saying? Like, we would have been rumbling in the bed. Like, I would have beat that ass and rolled out.
But the thing that really stands out to me.
You would have never done nothing like that.
Oh, hell no.
And I wouldn't be, I'm home, my Lord.
The thing that stands out to me, sis, is really and truthfully, like, in terms of getting over him, I think you need to get better acquainted with yourself, because whatever issues you have in reference to low self-esteem, in reference to seeking men who might not be the best for you, especially in this particular situation, is coming from an area of low self-esteem or just insecurity within you. You don't need to be with him. He ain't good for you. Even though he's the father of your child, he's not good for you. And so the question becomes, why are you attracting, or why are you looking to be in a relationship with this type of man? Why can't you erase him out your mind knowing he's bad? He's a bad thing for you. So just recognize that and honor the space within you that deserves better.
Right. So my husband has really said it all, sis. I just want to say this. First of all, there's no woman out here who really tells the truth when they're asked a question, who could really honestly say that you've never ever been in a relationship, whether it was when you were in elementary school, middle school, high school, or as a grown adult, where you wanted somebody who you knew wasn't good for you. You know that you've all been in that situation in some way or another. You may not have been in a full-out relationship. They may never have paid attention to you, but we always, in some way can resonate with the fact that sometimes we want folks, we want things that are not good for us. And I think you know enough, because the way you detailed this letter, you detailed every foolish piece of bullshit that has ever happened. You detailed that joint out. You know it ain't cool. You know he's not good for you. You know all of this already. But instead of me breaking down for you and telling you how you need to roll out, you need to put a boundary up, all of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to match my husband and tell you this. That when folks tell you what you don't need, when we as even friends tell other friends how it's not good and why he ain't right and why you need to roll out and let that go, all of that stuff, it doesn't really work. Because at the end of the day, we often want what's not good for us. But what my husband has said truly is the lifeline you need to hold on to. And that is this. When you get into yourself more, when you start to reach out to other people, don't just be on your own, whether you're going to church, whether you're getting into a group in the community with other women who have been in semi-abusive or abusive relationships. Because let me tell you something, he has all the little signs of an abusive dude. If he ain't hit you yet, it's coming. Okay, so you need to find other folks, other places, other settings and environments where people are really trying to find out who they are. They're trying to lift up, being in a different place where they can pull themselves out of old, negative, bad, not good for me patterns. When you do that, it's hard for the old to hold you down. It's hard to really hear the voice of stuff that you know ain't good for you calling you. Oh, I want to call him. Oh, I want to text him. All that stuff begging to get your attention is hard because you have something else that's louder calling you to another place. And so that something else that's louder is what you have to pay attention to. It is the very thing that had you write to us. It is the very thing that had you reach out to us and say, hey, help me. Give me some insight. Nurture that voice. Nurture the God within. Nurture all that you need to nurture so that you can keep going in the right direction, because he ain't good for you. Right now, sis, you ain't good for you. If you really want to turn it around and go to another level, you must get out of your own self, out of your own isolated place, connect with other people in the right environments to build up your own self-esteem, open up your awareness about why you are being pulled towards people who do not have your best interest at heart, and stop playing.
Start pushing.